Hi guys, Attila from the Third Cut. Just having a break here, so I thought I'd have a little chat with those 2 or 3 people that will ever watch this video. And this will be about what's the difference between 45, 60 and 90-minute bass coats, right? Blastering bass coats I'm talking about. This is the 45-minute version. And so people might have the idea that 90-minute gives you a longer drying time or working time, so it's best to use when there's a lot of work to be done, and maybe when it's warmer because it dries slower or something. But there's you got to understand that 45 and that 60 and that 90 is not about drying time. It's about setting time, and that is a very, very important distinction. You got to understand what it's about. Drying is completely different than setting when you're talking about this sort of material. When you're talking about pre-mixed compounds like that, those things there. And then drying is pretty much the same as setting, because it sort of it hardens as it sets. But this stuff that you got to mix yourself with water, it needs water in order to set and harden properly, right? So your biggest enemy is the stuff drying out too quickly. So for that reason, it's actually counterintuitive, but you want to use the 45-minute compound in warmer temperatures or in sort of windy and warm conditions, because it ensures, or it gives you the best chance that the base coat will harden and set before it runs out of moisture, right? Because, like I say, it needs the moisture to be able to set properly. Okay, I mean the only other option you have, especially if you're sort of going over, like doing new work or going over porous surfaces, then you can sort of wet the surface before applying the base coat, and that will sort of prevent it from drying out too quickly, or make the base coat a little, make the mix a little bit sort of more runny, or when it's a bit warmer and windier. But in general, 90 minutes is only suited for cool conditions, maybe in the winter, or obviously when you have a lot of work going on, so you want it to stay workable for a long time. But just because it's workable, it doesn't mean that it will set properly, right? So you got to make sure that it doesn't dry before it sets, and that's the idea. So in general, I'd say 45 minutes would be the go in almost every situation if you want to make sure that you get the structural integrity right. And then the only exception would be when it's really nice and cool in the winter, and you can guarantee that the stuff is not going to dry out too quickly. But you don't want to go the other extreme, and this stuff doesn't really set properly when it's really cold, like like below 10 degrees Celsius. It's not very ideal, to be honest with you. So you still need a certain temperature for it to set properly, but just want to make sure that it doesn't dry before it sets. Okay, hope this is helpful. Have a good day. Bye.